Hello, everyone. EJ Schultz here, news editor at Ad Age, and welcome back to another live episode of Purpose Marketing Hits and Misses. We've got another packed show for you guys today. We're going to be looking at some campaigns from Huggies, Nivea, Ally, and plenty more. And to help me do this, as usual, I want to welcome our guest, Thomas Kolster, to the screen. Thomas is the founder and creative director of Copenhagen, Denmark-based Goodvertising Agency, which advises companies and organizations on how to turn environmental, societal, and health risks into market opportunities. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you, EJ. Good to see you again.
As we were discussing off air, that we are on episode 30. So we've been doing this show in various forms. This is our 30th one. So congratulations to us for making it this long.
None of us had gray hair before we started the show. Look at us now. Wow.
Some of us no longer have any hair. So as usual, we're going to take a look at 6 ads today. Thomas, you will give your grade, but the most important part of this show is the people watching it. So we really encourage everyone to put your feedback in the comments, ask questions, disagree with us. We want this to be a dialogue. So please participate if you can. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. So let's get started. The first ad we're going to look at is actually an outdoor campaign. It's for Huggies. We'll show this on the screen. Ad Age covered this in April. That's the coverage you're looking at here on the screen. As you can see, it acknowledges the reality that every parent is aware of, and that is just about anything can be used as a changing table. The effort comes from Mischief, and it also included a radio ad that addressed baby blowouts by finding unique ways to talk about poop without mentioning poop. Thomas, what did you think of this one?
Yeah, I'm really just curious about what our audience think. Any parents out there, maybe share a little heart or maybe just a little number 2, so we kind of feel where you're at with this ad. I mean, for me, it does a couple of things right. I mean, Huggies, first of all, it stays in the territory that we're used to Huggy operating in. It's about sort of care, understanding parents, which I always think is a very strong purpose territory. Kind of also staying in what they've done before, No Baby Unhugged. I'm sure that you also know that campaign, EJ, for a while back. So it's on purpose. And what I really like about it is that it's kind of one of those ads that just finds this true human insight and just execute it so well. So as a parent, it can just instantaneously feel like Huggy speaks to me in this sort of secret language. Whereas, I mean, sometimes we've seen these much more generic observations that didn't really feel like a true insight. Mm-hmm. And this one, I feel, really, really speaks to me. And in some ways, it also has a bit of utility to it, which I think strong purposeful brands does have. So it's kind of helping parents through this phase. And then, lastly, which kind of speaks to the utility, I think, kind of for those of you who know the good old comedian John Mulaney, he had a reverse thing of this, because every time he saw a changing table when he was younger, he did too much cocaine on the changing table. Suddenly he had a son. And then that changed perspectives on it. So, that's, going from a young man to being a dad, it can change things.
I don't think Huggies is going to work that into the phase 2 of this campaign, but interesting trivia on that. Thank you for sharing.
Maybe a new brand spokesperson. John Mulaney, Huggies, who knows?
All right, so that was a hit. I safe to assume, nicely done, Huggies. And if anyone wants to still talk about it, please put some comments in. We can definitely come back to it. But we'll move on for now. We're going to head to Indonesia for our next campaign. It comes from the beauty brand Wardah, and this effort is in partnership with Dentsu and Digital Native, and it's called Hear in Hijab, and it's around a hearing aid innovation. So let's take a look.
With Here in Hijab, our mission now goes beyond hair care. We aim to help hijabers not only feel comfortable wearing their hijab, but also hear better and stay active in their daily life.
So most conventional hearing aids position the receiver behind the ear or sometimes inside of the ear, right where the hijab wraps. Now this tends to muffle or sometimes block out the sound entirely. So with Hearing Hijab, we are attempting to reimagine that architecture entirely. So in our system, the receiver sits on a brooch-like accessory, which is pinned outside of the hijab, and it sends a signal wirelessly to the receiver in the ear. It's only 12 grams, so it's lightweight, it's also adjustable, and it's compatible with most hijab fabrics.
The shell design is inspired by the cochlea's spiral shape inside the ear.
So we're trying to combine beauty, comfort, and clarity into a seamless device.
Jalan-jalan keluar udah nggak was-was.
Kalau denger kajian lebih jelas.
Bantu banget dan lebih fashionable.
All right, Thomas, what did you think of this one?
I mean, first up, a disclaimer, I'm a white guy, so I'm not an older Muslim woman. So I will just sort of put that out there so you don't forget it, if you should for a moment. I do have some challenges with this case, and I'm really curious to hear what our audience think about this. It kind of feels like one of those cases that are made for awards. I mean, Water is a beauty care brand that does sell to Muslim women. So, okay, that ticks the box. They want to show extra care to Muslim women. I get that. But it kind of does seem like the MacGyver problem to something that nobody's really necessarily faced with. So I think the case goes a little bit too far in the sense that it's an innovation, but is it? It's kind of like a trial of something. Did it really happen? Did it really scale? So I think we're kind of stuck in one of those kind of non-really existing innovations. So I want to see more proof for this to convince me that this is really a innovation path that makes sense. So I would probably to stay in the Huggies territory say that we are probably still a little bit too much on a code brown on this one, unfortunately.
So I was curious to hear what you said about this one, because I do think I know in the past you've liked things that are actually like solving problems and they're more than just kind of like preaching, right? And they're actually doing something to help a situation. But I guess it didn't do enough for you.
It just didn't convince me. I think there's questions around sort of affordability. Does this device, is it being sold? What's the price point of this? Healthcare access? What's the real issue here? Is it stigma around wearing hearing aids? Or is it just as banal as saying there's a piece of textile that is interfering with your hearing aid? So I'm just not buying into the premise as it is right now. And so I would say, though, what I would love to is to see this a bit further down the road. So if WADA had given us half a year, 2 years to build up users that could convince us that we are actually, as a beauty care brand, launching a new hearing aid, that's amazing, because I kind of feel like if you're doing this as a not really true innovation, then you're not really helping anyone.
So we did have at least one person I think disagrees with you. Yasmin said it was incredible. And if Yasmin, if you want to elaborate and describe why you like it, I think we could get a nice dialogue going. We're always open to disagreements and some productive discussion here on this show. So if you want to follow up with us, please do. But we'll move on. We're going to look at another print campaign. This one is from Nivea. And this one is for its sun care line. The effort is called Protection is Human. What we're going to show on screen is how the agency promoted it on their Instagram channel, Young Von Matt. And it plays into the habit of parents using their own shadows to protect their kids from the sun rays. And in the post, the social media post, the agency said, quote, across cultures, languages, and continents, this quiet moment speaks the same truth. Care looks the same everywhere. So another effort aimed towards parents. We just looked at Huggies a little while ago, but how does this one fare in your eyes?
We'll see if we could get our little crowd to react again, right? Hard or maybe a number 2 if they like it. Yeah, I mean, we're still sort of in a beauty care type industry, right? With Nivea, I think for me, Nivea is sort of just the symbol of sun and beach, and if you're growing up in Europe, it is one of those things that you remember from your childhood, right? And there's a bit of historic piece to this as well, that Nivea was actually the guys who more or less invented the SP factor that all of us today are taking for given. So I think they have quite a strong heritage to play in this space. So I think they have a permission to speak on this topic. So I really liked it. It touches you emotionally, and they stay in the territory that feels very natural for Nivea to do so. That being said, though, I think Nivea could definitely do more of this stuff. I think they tend to be a brand that 6X a little bit too much. So I would love to see much more of this type of stuff coming out from Nivea just in general. So this is the odd one where I'd actually say I want to see more. I think you're onto something that connects with people, as we saw with Huggies. And so I'm just curious to see what our audience feels about this. It's quite simple, and it's actually also great to sometimes see print advertising, outdoor advertising being big back here.
So it's funny you say that, because I was when I was trying to research this before the show, and I couldn't find a lot in the wild on it. Like, I was trying to find it on the actual brand, social media handles, etc. That's why I ended up pulling from the agency. So I was curious how much support they actually gave that.
Yeah, to be honest, I couldn't find that, which is also a good question to be asking, right? I think in terms of when we're now going into, at least in some parts of the world, summer season, this could be a strong ad to remind us why we need to apply sunscreen. And obviously, Nivea have done other work along this stuff. One of my favorites was called the Sun Slide out of South Africa, which was basically a water slide where you'd apply sunscreen, so kind of using behavior change and fun to drive that change. So, but yeah, anybody who knows more about this campaign, I'm curious to know more about it. But I think they touch on something that could be definitely built on going further.
I wanted to go back to the Warda campaign. Says Yasmin added some more commentary that I think we can throw on the screen, and I can just kind of read what she said. She said that that was actually a problem that needed addressing. The film in the beginning was especially poignant, and she added that actually for me, working in production, it's difficult to hear with a headset and hijab. So I can't imagine what it's like for hard of hearing hijab wearers. This is a problem that needs addressing. As she said, the film in the beginning was very poignant. So there is a case of someone saying, because I think you were wondering the usefulness of, so there is an example of someone saying it is actually useful and good.
Amazing, Jasmine. And I think then there's a market potential. So let's hope that Warda is going to hold true on this one. That's always one I hope with some of this stuff. We see it sometimes a little bit too early in the world of advertising. People might be a little bit too desperate to get these cases out. I'd always give them the benefit of the doubt, obviously. But it's just I'm putting my critical hat on, because I think sometimes in our industry we see too much work that's more a prototype than a real innovation.
So the question is, if they're sticking with this, they're going to make enough of it to make a difference, and they're not. This is not just one small thing, and then they're moving on to something else.
Yeah.
All right, good. I'm glad we had that conversation. Let's move on. Next up is a campaign from Rimowa, and it's a travel accessories brand. It's owned by the luxury giant LVMH. The effort we're going to watch comes from Gut Amsterdam. It's actually a 3-part series that tracks a musician and his instrument case. What we're going to watch is part 3. So let's show that now.
Excuse me.
We're ready for you.
All right, Thomas, your comments.
I mean, we are in a sort of luxury segment and a highly competitive category when we talk about suitcases, right? And it's not that I doubt that Rimowa has a role to play in this idea of longevity and staying with you through lives and exploring, which is a beautiful story, by the way, about a son and the dad and the trumpet and how that's being passed on. And so there are things there that I really like about it, that I think Rimowa got onto something that feels true. There's a product truth to it, that there can be a bigger purpose to it. What bothers me a little bit is basically the execution, which I feel kind of falls a little bit flat, in the sense that, will this content sort of stick out? Does it have a strong enough point of view? And especially as it is in this category. And it kind of also feels like it's stuck in territory that, for example, LVMH have been before with Louis Vuitton and some of the strong work they've done. I mean, you know, one they had something about is a good old sort of Gorbachev ad where he sits in the car and you've got the Louis Vuitton bag next to him, that sort of kind of have a little bit of that same feel. So yes, it kind of feels Rimowa. I'm just not sure that it'll stick out enough as a strong sort of purpose statement. It feels somehow too generic.
And it was a 3-part series. Did you watch the other 2?
I watched the 3 other series. And it's a beautiful little story, right? That starts with the son and how you know, then the generation later ends up on stage. So beautifully narrated, but again, I think a big part of purposes as well is to obviously own a sort of unique, differentiating voice in sort of the luxury luggage space. And I think there is one thing that I think speaks truth to all luxury items, is that hopefully they stay with us for more than a generation, whether it's a Patek Philippe or whether it's a Rimowa suitcase. So I think I would have loved a little bit more punchiness, and I know they have been there with Roger Federer and LeBron James and stuff like that, but I need a bit more creative punch for a brand like Rimowa that needs to establish itself globally.
Got it. If we could go back to Nivea for a moment, we had another comment from Shweta. She says it's a good campaign, but how is it purpose driven? We've seen similar questions in previous episodes about this, and I think that what your definition of purpose is typically fairly broad, Thomas. But why is an ad selling, you know, sunscreen purpose?
I think for me in this specific case, and obviously you're right, is this just a product benefit that you're executing? I think, as I said, the Nivea history in so many ways is quite a unique one, right? So they have this play on being the ones that were there very early on, the SP factor that they invented, and that has been the course that they've been on for quite some time and are known for in Europe. But again, as I said, we need more of this stuff, I think, to establish themselves as a true purpose brand. I think, as I said earlier, they tend to zigzag a little bit. So there's a real missed opportunity here. They have a treasure chest of amazing stories to tell. It can be activated more. So I'm happy that you also touch on this. Yeah.
All right, we'll move on. One more comment on the Rimowa work from Damien, who really liked it. They called it beautiful storytelling. So there it is.
Yeah, Damien, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's just whether, I mean, sometimes I feel as, you know, advertising folks, I love craft, I love beauty, but, you know, we also still need to kind of stand out in a stream of content, user-generated content, creator content, and that's where I'm doubting that this has enough punch to kind of cut through that noise, to be honest.
All right, we have 2 more campaigns to review. So the next one comes from Ally, the financial brand, and it, like so many financial brands these days, it's trying to reach out to younger generations. The campaign we're going to watch comes from Anomaly LA. Let's take a look.
You want to do life right, so you work hard and put up with her. Ugh. And these to earn this and save money by.
I have a wealthy aura.
Because that's what you're supposed to do, right? Just in case you want all this, which you can have by the time you're 87. Then it hits you. A realization, not a bus. Life is about today. So you spend a little bit of this on trying new things. You could get cultured.
It's pronounced Barcelona.
Join a gym. Or don't. Ooh, money.
You want that potato loaded?
Fully.
Visit Europe. Stay up. Come down. Because today, doing it right looks different. That's why you need a bank that was actually built for life today. Ally. Do it right.
Thomas, what did you think of this one?
It's an interesting one, right? As you said, we do see a lot of new banks popping up and speaking to young people. I think generally people are just a little bit tired of the banks and what do they truly deliver to all of us. So I think this is a category that truly needs purpose to survive in the long term, and obviously also to be more innovative around its services, etc. I mean, in some ways, they're playing a little bit on some of the same insights that we saw in our last episode, 29, from Tuborg, this idea that young people, we don't really know what to do, how should we fit in? And so it does talk a little bit about this idea that the best things in life might not be money and things we buy, but somehow I don't really feel they land that argument with Embrace today. There's sort of an annoying sort of consumer-driven, just go spend on experiences and things that bothers me to turn that into a true purpose. And there's a bigger point to that as well, because again, this is about differentiating yourself. And if you want to be an ally in young people's lives, what do you then need to do? You might need to guide them a little bit. So I think they get stuck too much in a quite familiar territory for these online banks rather than to stick out. So it would be much more refreshing to say, save your money for experiences that truly matter to you or something like that. So I lack differentiation, and I lack a sense that this bank actually really truly cares about something that matters to young people.
And then my question was if there was enough in the ad on the product benefit differentiating, like what is Ally doing to help this? And again, I acknowledge that we're viewing this work in isolation like we do with everything, right? It's part of a larger integrated campaign, and I'm sure there's a lot more detailed messaging that goes along with it that's targeted to the right audience, et cetera. So theoretically, someone is just seeing this as part of a larger effort. But that was.
But I think you're right. I mean, banks need to innovate much more, and I think the challenge is that if they really want to, deliver on being people's allies and embracing this idea that the concept of money has changed for young people, and my issue with that is the reality on the ground is not great. I mean, young people have never been so much in debt, so that's the first generation where we've seen that. So does this bank really help you do any of that by encouraging people just to live sort of life today, go travel, go spend more money, and do that other thing with the credit card? So that's my problem with purpose. It needs to have a bigger societal play or bigger personal benefit than just say, go do it.
Carolyn weighs in. She says, for me, it feels like a string of cliches. So there you go.
Thank you, Carolyn. You should probably also just join me next time. Very well said. String of cliches.
We finally have someone that agrees with you, Thomas.
Exactly.
It'll get to the end of the show.
It's a hard job. I just need to be the critical one. Some days I'm more happy than others, but yeah.
All right, we'll take a look now at our last campaign. It's comes from the organization Great Outdoors Colorado, which is an organization that uses state lottery proceeds to invest in the state's parks, trails, wildlife, rivers, and open spaces. This initiative is called Generation Wild, which is designed to spark a movement reconnecting kids to the outdoor world. And what we're going to watch is one of the ads that promotes this initiative. It comes from the Denver, Colorado-based agency Suckle, and it is called Take Your Brain Out. Let's watch.
Take your brain out and let it roll. Let it ramble. Let it get a little scrambled. Brains like to go outside. Up off the couch. Away from the screens. Ditch those machines. Brains like to go outside. Take your brain out. Take your brain outside.
So that's a pretty simple message, but one that I think we easily forgot as a society right now. So what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, you're touching on one of the essential elements here. It's the simplicity of it. I think sometimes we just overcomplicate some of these messages. I think they really get away with telling a very simple story, reminding us of a very simple story, that our little brain needs some oxygen to function. I think we've all been in that classroom at some point in school or at work, and we become tired and we stop thinking. So take your brain out is just it's simple. That works. It's not over-narrating. And the other thing is as well that on a lot of these sustainability topics, they can become quite heavy and dark and gloomy. And it's a thing that I keep reiterating. Why not use humor and positivity to cut through? And I think especially in these days with cost of living crisis and all these things, we need a little bit of a smile. And I mean, it's fun. It doesn't over pretend, and I kind of like that.
I like the copywriting, and sometimes it really boils down to one word, and like the idea of taking your brain out, not just go outside, right? Take your brain out. It kind of works, right?
Yeah, and I think sometimes, I mean, I like simple ideas. I like ideas that are just, you don't really need language, culture. There's no barriers to understanding this idea. And that's just amazing. And I would love to see if they had some print ads and other stuff. I mean, I can definitely see that work as well.
There is if you go to the website, there's a whole kind of program designed here. I think there's some help, and like if you're a parent, and some ideas and activities around all this. So it's not just one single ad. Before we wrap up, I do want to go back a few more comments. One on Ally from Marco, the previous campaign. It says it could be a campaign for travel agencies, for example. So he's kind of speaking to the generic kind of nature of it a little bit. And then Luis says, I find the montage of life plans for a woman, marriage, kids, etc., lacking progression. So a few more critics there that are joining your criticism, Thomas.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think the industry, banking in general, is under tremendous pressure, and so I really do think that we will see much more purpose work coming from banks, and we actually had some research we did with Walk recently where we looked at 12 years, and the last year in fact showed that banking was up on number 2 in terms of industries heading into the purpose space. So I think they need that differentiation, and they need to build those types of relationships, but they also need to deliver on it through products and services.
It's interesting. We've not just today where we looked at 2 ads that are geared towards parents. In previous episodes, we've seen a lot of good work on that space, I feel like. And it might be a little easier, right? There's so much emotion you can play into that just naturally click, like you show a pool table as a changing table and people instantly get it. I feel like probably the financial marketing is a little more difficult, right?
Yeah, but weirdly enough, I kind of feel that's the secret sauce behind a lot of this sustainability and purpose work, that when done well, there's so many emotions around it. And I mean, there are a lot of emotions around finances. I mean, finances are definitely the thing that either make or break an election quite typically. So I think it does show the major role that finances play in our lives. And some of the toughest decisions we go through in life are tied to finances. So I think it's underutilized in banking in general, and it has probably to do with the fact that historically banks have been quite conservative, and now with a lot of these new banks, there will be much more pressure. I just don't think Ally is getting it right in this instance, but I think there's lots of opportunity for other banks to do really, really well.
We'll be on the lookout. I challenge you to find a good financial brand campaign for our next episode. So there's your homework assignment.
And for the audience as well. I mean, if you have seen an amazing piece of work from a financial institution, a bank, or insurance, whatever, share it with us. We're always really looking for great work in this space.
On that note, we will, like always, recap this episode at adage.com. And we do have a form you can fill out if you want us to review some work. So again, everyone, this is your homework assignment. You got a month to do it. Find good financial services marketing, and we promise we'll review it next episode.
Exactly.
So we'll leave it there for today. Thomas, thank you so much as usual. We will see you at Cannes. Maybe some of our audience will as well. Do you want to give a quick Cannes plug for what you're up to there?
Oh, yeah. Both EJ and I will be in Cannes, so we hope to connect with all of you. I am doing a little session in the Palais around world bettering creativity and why that is a secret driver of effectiveness and why we need to embrace it more. So if you're there, come and meet me.
I think you are on the official agenda, right? So you're in the big time.
I am, I guess, on the official agenda. Somebody sometimes agrees with me. Maybe not you guys, but other people do.
All right. Thanks again, Thomas. Again, thanks everyone for tuning in. I want to thank all my help at Adage in the background, Eileen O'Gorman, Lauren Ciardio, and others who helped put this show together. We will, again, like I said, post a recap online, and we'll also have the date there for our next episode. But generally, you can count on us at the beginning of the month, usually on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So we'll see everyone in July at some point. Thanks again.